NEOM promised a science fiction future, once envisioned to be the world's
Should they stop
largest
doing
city
this?
by GDP. What you have today is a project that has collapsed in all its major elements.
I thought it was pretty obvious they were going to stop doing it.
Of the ambitious plan to pivot Saudi Arabia away from oil.
نحن بحاجة إلى تجديد مفهوم المدن إلى مدن مستقبلية.
Behind the scenes, the project's own staff were sounding the alarm. We've talked to numerous former employees, we've looked at satellite images, we've looked at internal financial documents. It's all to find out how and why the world's largest construction
I mean, that's insane a project though.
And
I
what
mean,
is next for NEOM. The centerpiece of NEOM became the line, longer than the state of Connecticut. It had over 7 billion square feet. That is more than the combined square footage of every single building in New York City.
Chad, this generally feels like in Minecraft when you've been playing with the boys and you have a project like, dude, wait, hold on. Let's do this crazy shit. And you start building it, and after like a few hours, you're like, okay, f this shit. Let's just go back to our dirt house and just move on.
A pair
like,
of
Chad,
twin skyscrapers, taller than the Empire State Building, that run continuously, except for a chunk where they tunnel through the mountains.
A chunk?
And it would have 9 million people. MBS wanted this to be like nothing the world had ever seen before. He repeatedly told his staff he wanted zero gravity architecture that looks like you're in space, where gravity doesn't apply. When I first saw it, my thought was, there is not enough money out there to do this. How on earth is this government going to fund this? Surely there was going to be a reckoning at some point. Over the past 9 months or so, that reckoning has arrived. What our reporting shows is that construction on all the major projects has stopped or is winding down. We've talked to numerous former employees.
So what are they going to do with all the bones of
project,
this place?
and the expectation by them and many others is that this project would be too costly to restart for any of the major elements. We reached out to NEOM for comment on the project's current development status, but we didn't get a response.
Well, yeah, no
Yasser
shit.
Al-Rumayyan,
No
the
bullshit.
head of Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, the sovereign wealth fund that controls NEOM, has said that no projects have been canceled at NEOM. Instead, he characterized it as a reprioritization.
هل اللاين ضروري انه نجيبه في 2030؟ اعتقد لا. اكيد انه it's good to have.
Yeah, I mean, data centers, it could be a bit, I mean, they could turn the beginning of the line into a big data center, right? And use some of the water, right?
It's not much.
Like do some like
It's
water
difficult
induction.
to get a really clear picture of internal
type cooling.
finances at
That's more
NEOM.
wide.
The PIF annually publishes its financial statements, but it doesn't break out specifics for NEOM. What they showed us was some large hits, what you call...
They're right next to the water. The line connects to the water. Now listen, if they were able to lift big ass blocks to make the pyramids, they could do this shit for data centers.
Impairments or write-downs on their capital projects, of which NEOM is the largest. They wrote off 46.8 billion Saudi riyals in 2025 and 74.7 billion in 2024, and that's the equivalent of writing off 12 billion US dollars or 17 billion in 2024. What we understand from multiple people familiar with the matter is that the country has spent well over $50 billion on NEOM now, and will spend many billions more.
Wasn't NEOM like sponsoring a bunch of people?
How did we get here?
Like I thought NEOM was like a big sponsor of
in the beginning,
League of Legends,
to craft what NEOM would
like
be,
LCS or some
they
shit,
assembled
or
a
LEC or
roster
something.
of top Western consultants and came up with an enormous number of ideas. We got access to a 2,000 plus page document that detailed all of these ideas.
They were, yeah, I'm not wrong. They were.
Artificial moon. There's written down an idea for Jurassic Park theme park. They also had plans to
that's
control
Qiddiya City,
the
sorry.
weather. So here is
PwC?
the artificial moon plan, and it calls for it to be the biggest installation in the world. They give an example of a potential partner as NASA. The ideas from consultants became the blueprints for several key sub-projects. The biggest sub-project was The Line. You then had Trojena, which is a ski resort in an arid desert mountain.
What?
Where they would have snow 3 months of the year, where snow only today falls in sprinklings and melts right away. There was Oxagon, which was supposed to be an advanced port city for logistics and modern manufacturing of all types. And then there was Sandala, which is a high-end resort on an island aimed at the super yacht crowd. Early on, to get this done, staff realized they had a mountain of concerns they were going to need to overcome. We got hold of a document that outlines a huge number of the concerns, and it ranges from environmental to livability to architecture to buildability. And here's a key one. Cost will be astronomical. For me, when I saw this, it told us that there were people on the inside seeing what seemed so obvious from the outside, which is
What? So they're showing on purpose or what?
Was on a scale that couldn't be done. You can see in the latest satellite
Chat,
images that
I think to make those happen would take more money than the world has to offer. I mean, genuinely, the whole world would probably come together and they couldn't be able to afford this.
they actually had done a ton of work. In the line you can see over the past few years, they took a chunk of 70 miles of land plus and dug a trench for what was supposed to be the trains and the infrastructure for the line, and then a thing they called the marina, which is this giant basin where yachts were supposed to come in, and the first
So this looks like something they had like Project Hail Mary. You know what I mean?
They dug all the way down 150 feet below sea level and then started to put these massive concrete piles another 150 feet into the earth. And then late last year, that work just stopped. If you look down at Trojena, you can see this giant outline of where the lake was going to be.
Yeah, but Jeff, I just don't understand they must have realized this wasn't feasible, like, early on. Like, how come they did so much of the work? I mean, watch a whole video about this. I mean, how much work they already put into this shit. A lot of it.
This weird structure that was going to be called the Enchanted Forest, which was going to be a forest beneath the lakes with a tunnel that connects to the land. And then at the very end of this lake is where they were spending all this money to build this dam that would just have enormous amounts of concrete and steel. The Wall Street Journal acquired a set of videos from workers who were working on Trojena in its final days before it stopped. And you can see that the site was really far along, and you can see the massive amount of steel that went into this ski village where there was supposed to be a ski slope.
They have to hoard all these materials in the desert. Just the transportation logistics of this is an absolute master. It's like a master plan.
And then one day, these workers all were told the same thing.
Just getting the mats there is crazy.
Stopped. We're moving out. In Sandala, you can see that an enormous amount of work had gotten completed and then simply stopped. The golf course, which was once green, that's gone brown. And you have another end of the island where simply work hasn't happened at all. That was supposed to by now have a Four Seasons.
But I don't get it. Did they put a brand on it as it was building?
A key point about NEOM is that it is MBS's project. He is the developer and he's the bank. He's the chair of NEOM.
Okay,
he's the chair.
Okay, imagine, chat, and in real life we had ender chests. Shulker boxes, ender chests. The shit that we could build, we had this shit, we'd be busted.
Of all of the boards for the sub-projects with
And think about it.
He's chair of the Public Investment Fund, which funds NEOM, and he runs the country. This structure fed into everything at NEOM and led to a lot of problems. We reviewed a draft internal audit of the project that found a conscious manipulation of financials of NEOM by staff. This was common, according to former employees that we spoke to. We reviewed the
they can't say no to him is what
financials
happened?
of Trojena from a 2023 document to the Trojena board, and what it showed was that the project costs were ballooning and had hit $39 billion.
Well, I mean, if you're a worker or if you're a contractor and you're paid a certain amount to do some shit, and he's like, okay, this is not feasible, but they're paying me to do it. I mean, they just did it. I mean, I'm sure everybody involved they just did the work. I mean, fuck it, they're paid by the hour and shit. Like,
because the Crown Prince wanted all the projects to be profitable. So when project staff made proposals and came up with renderings, they needed to show that a project would actually, over time, pay back to the Saudi state. What did staff do? So we can see in this presentation that to adjust for the rising costs, they also increased the expected revenue that they were going to be getting from all of the things at the project. An inventive glamping site was envisioning that it would get $216 a night. They adjusted it to $704 a night. Suddenly, hotels would be much more profitable, even though no conditions on the ground had changed from one month to another.
This is like you're playing like some sim game and you just turn the sliders up on like taxes and income, whatever. You know what I mean?
One little
like,
piece of Neo.
I mean, this is just trolling. This is
big
trolling.
implications
Man.
for what
Found
was
the
going
real
on
end game
throughout the
better
project.
than the end game some rich people
Neom was
pursue
described as
aware.
a $500 billion project initially, but a draft board presentation reviewed by the Wall Street Journal
I mean, dude, look at this shit.
initially, but
Like, brother,
a draft board presentation
this is insane.
reviewed by the Wall Street Journal showed that the capital required to build out Neom to its end state by 2080
Just imagine
was
that amount of money
$8.8
being put
trillion.
into Ray Kaipo's
That is more than
LOL.
25 times Saudi's annual budget at the time for the whole country. A Neom spokesperson said at the time that the journal was incorrectly interpreting and misrepresenting the figures, but declined to provide additional details.
Well, I mean, that's probably also
What
true,
we
but I
have
mean,
heard
both
out
can
of
be true at the same
Neom
time.
is that they are focused on Oxagon.
فيها ميناء لاستقبال السفن التجارية.
What the fuck is the Oxagon?
للتصدير وللاستيراد.
Octahexagon?
فيها مراكز بيانات كثيرة وفيها العديد من الشركاء مستثمرين أجانب وسعوديين في المنطقة هذه.
Starting late last year, Neom began canceling the contracts of many of the projects that were underway.
Very interesting.
In recent months, we've started to see public acknowledgement of that. CEOs have been talking on conference calls about how their work at Neom is over.
The project like Neom is now in the doldrums and is not happening anymore.
The two Neom contracts in Saudi Arabia were cancelled.
The basic structural problem at Neom was
So what happened when you just
we've
cancel?
referred to in the past as a dance of mutual delusion. It was a project where truth simply couldn't be told. MBS had fantastical views of what Neom should be, but the people around him wouldn't tell him it was impossible.
52
It's a
months
tale of
watching the
many things, a
ultimate
tale of
best at
Icarus,
all
a tale
games juice a
of
warlord.
the Emperor's New
Is
Clothes,
that worthy of a
where
welcome
the
to the jungle?
fantastical visions of a crown prince collided with the financial reality.
All right, well. I mean, I'll finish it later on. It's all good. When I get the money.
Why is money the deciding factor on these projects? Money is not everything, you know. Why build these things for free?
Are you stupid? Oh, that's rage bait then. What the fuck is this guy talking about? Bro, he's saying what?
I'm dead ass crying. This the type of shit I was on when I got a money drop hack on GTA 5.
Yeah, I get it. This is the type of shit you build whenever you finally found a plugin to put onto your Minecraft server. To put, if I can put like the fucking XYZ blocks and you just make a
Jungle to
full
welcome
mega
love much.
stone slab that goes across the whole thing. Holy shit! Holy, Jack, I did that world edit. Yo, when I had, Jack, when we put this shit onto the server, it sparked a brand new mindset of mine. I became the constructor.